proved himself through the North American regions to be the most survivalist druid amongst all the feral druids that have been competing. He lives the longest. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Yep, so we are going to follow Pry out of here. He's going to be looking for that opener, probably going to try to go for that sap onto the shaman. That seems to be the most common way for these rogue mage druid teams to want to open up. He's going to try to get a sap onto Absterge. Of course, Raikou and Raikou and Talby are both able to keep themselves pretty hidden as well. I should point out that Talby is healing stat. He does actually kind of have two different names that he goes by, but here we go. The sap does go out onto Absterge. Vassal immediately going to gateway out of there after he gets caught into that kidney shot. Trinkets it immediately and gateways out. Absterge still caught into a sheep, into a cyclone as well, and they are now trying to continue to keep up this damage onto Vassal, but he's done a great job getting over here out of line of sight and making sure that they can't actually get over to him very easily.
And Pry actually doing a pretty cool job there in the opener, make sure to use that depth from above so Wallabear wasn't actually able to get a stun on him, so he did a great job there. Vassal just pulling back, summoning up his pet. Really not too much achieved there in the opener. Vassal did use his trinket, but that's really all we saw out of these two teams.
Yeah, triple Shadow Fury out from Vassal. Dark Soul coming out, looking for some pressure, building it up onto Talby, but Talby displaces back to the center field. He's going to be completely fine. Vassal loading up full dots onto the team, doing a good job so far. There's the full kidney shot. Are they going to follow it up with the damage is the question. Pry building up towards that red buff. Full bash on the wall, full deep onto Absterge. Good cross EC out from Skill Cap to you. They secure the clone, they secure the poly. Vassal could be in a bit of trouble as he pops that Dark Regeneration to heal back up. Pry lands the kick onto that unstable affliction, and we can see Wallace still getting cloned up. Good crowd control chains out from Skill Cap to you thus far, but they don't have the damage to follow it up. Where is it?
Yeah, Vassal's just completely fine. He's going to be using that Soulborn port, just running around, preventing some of that damage. Another Shadow Fury coming out onto Pry. Talby doing a good job staying back and making sure he doesn't get CC'd. Vassal having a hard time actually getting Fears out onto him right now. The Stampeding Roar coming out of Wallabear. This is the Deep Freeze though onto Absterge, the full blind onto Wallabear, who does have that Berserk pop. I don't think he stacked. Oh, he did. He ended up stacking it with his Incarnation. So he gets blinded on those cooldowns, decides not to trinket. Vassal in a little trouble though, caught into the full kidney shot. Absterge does have a Trinket Link available, gets the Spirit Link off before going into that clone, so Vassal's going to be completely fine for now, but still not completely out of the woods, it looks like. The DR clone coming out, gating away, doing the best he can to get away and survive, porting back to Absterge. It's going to be completely fine for the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wallabear was not in that Spirit Link, so they didn't get the health from him, so Vassal was in kind of a scary situation there for just a second, but he did manage to kite very effectively and get away. One thing that Skill Capped has been doing up until very recently is they've actually been killing Vassal's pet as much as possible. That's why we weren't seeing quite as much damage going on to Followesports, because they were actually putting their damage into that pet. Now, of course, the pet is still active, and they're just going straight after Vassal, getting him not into that kidney shot yet again. Another kidney shot coming off of that. Absterge into a Cyclone. Ooh. Vassal in a lot of trouble, but the second Spirit Link is going to come out from Absterge. He did have that Trinket available to get that Trinket Link off, just barely saving Vassal in the nick of time.
Yeah, well timed from Absterge. Good trade, but now in this position, with no Trinket, Skill Cap to you are going to be looking to set up a kill potentially. Wallabear holding onto his Trinket smartly. He doesn't want to open himself up as a target, going for that defensive clone over onto Pry. Looks like they're still trying to build up some pressure here right now onto Raikou, as he is fully dotted, fully bled up. Deep Freeze is now available if Raikou chooses to move in here shortly. Vassal seems to be the primary target. Dark Regeneration coming up here shortly though. Followesports should be alright. Talby starting to run out of mana. Here comes the setup. Deep Freeze poly lands on Absterge. Full clone onto Walla. Walla trinkets out. Red Spree out from Pry. A lot of damage onto Vassal. Dark Regeneration comes out immediately to try and heal through it. The polys are chaining through onto Absterge. He breaks it with the Comet Storm. Absterge needs to get some heals. He's trying to stop the Cyclones. He misses a wind shear. Grounds the follow-up clone, and Vassal is going to survive another setup.
Yeah, Absterge able to got those Spirit Walker's Grace heals out onto him, so he's going to be completely fine. Raikou, though, getting a little bit low. Talby actually having a huge trouble with his mana right now. I believe he's down to around 28% mana. So as this game goes on, unless he can get a drink, his team's just going to get rotted lower and lower. I mean, that's what Followesports wants. They want this game to go on long. Raikou actually caught into a full main right now, loaded up with Haunt. Gets dispelled by Talby Tree. Talby, I think, is going to be displacing back, trying to actually go for a drink. He realizes mana is big trouble. So this RMD of Skill Cat EU is going to pull back, just try to prevent as much damage as possible, and Talby's just going to drink to full. And there's not too much Vassal and Wallabear and Absterge can do to stop him.
Yeah, Talby just sitting back here, drinking up 83% mana now on Talby, putting him actually above Absterge, who was in a commanding lead just a second ago in terms of mana. So now Skill Cap EU playing defensively here for just a second. Looks like they may actually be looking for... No, actually, I'm incorrect. I thought that the Vassal's pet was over there and they were going to kill it, but no, both teams are just kind of hanging out behind the pillars. Like, no, you go. No, you go. Just waiting for the other person to actually move out. But Pry has gotten himself into stealth again, gets that sap out on a Vassal. They're actually just looking to reset this and get another opener off.
And Wallabear actually using his Berserk and Incarnation right away. He wants to go very, very offensive, gets caught into that cheap shot. He doesn't have Trinket available, so if he gets CC'd on these cooldowns, it's going to be really hard for them to generate some pressure. Absterge actually going into the full kidney shot, able to get some heals off on himself. That was the Frozen Orb coming out from Raikou, as well as the Adrenaline Rush from Pry, so Abster's still taking quite a bit of damage. It looks like he is going to be completely fine. Pry actually getting the Ironbark from Talby, also taking a lot of damage, but he does have Ironbark as well as Feint. Not going to be taking too much. Gets topped off by Talby, and it looks like this RMD is going to be fun.
Yeah, now we see the full kidney shot onto Vossel. He has no Dark Regeneration for 8 more seconds. Abster's trinket just comes up, bops the Ascendance. Now we can see Follow Esports rotating the pressure and momentum around. Raikou getting cloned up at low HP. Pry getting swapped to down to 40%. Talby desperately trying to pick his team back up. That drink that he got earlier was so important here. He's going to choose to use the Bark Skin on that Bash, and Walla's going to clone him up. Really well played from Walla. Reading the cooldown, cloning him up, switching the pressure over onto Raikou. Raikou does have 2 more ice blocks available, so as long as he presses it, he should be all right.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to note how little they've been going after Raikou. A lot of times, the North American teams, you'll see them going after the mage constantly, just trying to get through the 2 ice blocks, but in this case, it seems almost like they're focusing primarily on Pry. Of course, as I say that, Wallabear jumps over and starts putting a bunch of damage into Raikou, just trying to keep Talby on his toes. Now a full fear onto Talby, but they're still putting so much damage into Vossel at the same time. Abster's not entirely out of the woods, but he is managing to get those heals off as no major CC was landing on him just yet. Now switching it back around onto Pry once again. Wallabear putting some damage into him. Looks like, I'm guessing that their strategy here is to try to catch Pry without his feint up and try to just blow him up inside of a stun, but Pry is just a little bit too good for that. He's keeping that feint up non-stop, wants to make sure there is no possibility for them to swap over to him and blow him up that quick.
I really like what Follow Esports is doing. They're playing that Shaman Pillar game very, very well. Wallabear actually doing an excellent job making Raikou's life a nightmare, using that Typhoon as well as his kick and Cyclones to sort of shut down his crowd control, make sure he's not able to get too many icicles. But Wallabear actually caught into the full kidney shot right now, still has no trinket available. He just have 2 charges of Survival Instinct, so if he gets out of the stun, he's going to be able to pop it. Stops the follow-up CC. Abster's still in that polymorph though at the moment, gets DR polymorph by Raikou, but Raikou and Talby both getting dangerously low. Bark Skin coming out from Talby, using that NS, able to top himself off. Wallabear still very low. Abster's actually dropping the Spirit Link. Wallabear is able to get into it. Beautiful Spirit Link by Abster's there. I believe he actually also had to use his trinket.
Yeah, he did. So Skill Cap DU are in another position where the next setup could be the kill. There's no trinkets available for Follow Esports. We can see that Skill Cap DU know that they have this game in the bag. They're just going to rotate back, look for a complete reset, maybe even allow Talby to drink, play for a little bit more of a later stage of the game. We see the pet getting killed off, but Vossel's already preparing for that, resummoning it behind the pillar. We see Pry running in, not even going to go for a re-stealth. He does not gain the advantages of that like a subtlety rogue. Raikou trying to pop Wallabear out of stealth. Wall is actually immediately opening onto Talby. He has no Bark Skin available. Blade's so greedy, and he's going to possibly go down. He trinkets air, barely surviving at 12% HP. If dampening was just a little bit higher, he's still going down to the dots, struggling to heal through the pressure. A blind onto Walla, but that blind is no longer available for the Incarnation. Follow Esports need to survive this kidney shot. Just there's no damage coming out from Pry and Raikou right now. Great counterspell onto the Frost Tree of Raikou. Now the image kidney shot following it up onto Abster's as he pops that Aura Mastery, trying to pick himself back up. Follow Esports could have this game in the bag. There's the Incarnation out from Walla, but he didn't really get anything done with it. Abster's needs to stabilize himself. He's got his trinket coming up in about 50 seconds. Spirit Link is available for him as well. Abster's needs to make sure that he pre-links the next incoming CC.
Talby spent 50% of his mana bar in that last exchange. 50%.
Yeah, very intensive healing. This is dampening at 20%, so I feel like the more this RMD pulls back, they're kind of playing into the advantages of Follow Esports, letting them reset. Abster Trinket's going to be up in 30 seconds. Vossel has his Dark Regeneration. Trinket coming up for him in 20 seconds. They're going to have a lot of defensive cooldowns that they can work and rotate through, and it's going to be so hard for Talby to heal through and keep his team offensive if they don't manage to make something happen right away. And I think this is looking good for Follow Esports.
Yeah, it really is. They're playing into the dampening game very well. Abster's Trinket is coming up. Follow Esports have a lot of cooldowns left. All of their trinkets are coming up. This is looking great for Follow Esports. If they can stay alive just a little bit longer, they've caught Talby off a little bit, but now the dampening is a bit higher. Talby could end up going down in a potential setup like that. Abster's getting sapped. Nice Shadow Fury out from Vossel, reading the position, but they are going to follow it up with a kidney shot. Vossel trinkets out right away. He needs to get some dots rolling. They need the damage, but he does get locked out by Pry as he's dipping down to half HP. Abster's trying to ground some incoming CC, goes for the Ascendance, gift of the Nara. He needs to pick Vossel back up. Vossel gates away, pops the Dark Regeneration. Pry goes for the killing spree. Will they be able to chop right through it? He's down at 39% HP. Gouge over onto Walla to try and crowd control him. Clone onto Absterge. Vossel completely alone at the moment, down at 30% HP. Absterge has the Trinket Link. He's going to pre-link the next incoming CC, stabilize his team. Follow Esports needs to get some damage, and they need to get it now.
Yeah, they need to turn this around in a hurry, and it looks like they're trying to do that onto Raikou right now. Wallabear is chasing after him constantly, but Vossel caught into another full kidney shot. Absterge into that deep freeze, but no follow-up CC. No, excuse me. The blind comes out. He's going to trinket that right away, but now he has nothing to stop this polymorph. Vossel is running for his his life right now. He's got nothing left available. He ports back over, just trying to kite Pry as long as he possibly can, as Absturge is just sitting through Polymorph after Polymorph into a Cyclone, but he's out of that into a Bash right away. How is Vossel still alive? The kidney shot comes out. He's at 16% health.
Healing surge. The smoke bomb tried to deny those incoming heals from the Absturge by Pry. Vossel actually getting offensively cloned there by Talby. Excellent job by him. Absturge is in a nightmare position, has no Spirit Link up for 50 seconds. He has no cooldowns to heal through this. The Garrote coming out from Pry onto Vossel, catches a huge heal from Absturge, but it's not enough, dampening at 32%. This is so hard for Absturge, who's now caught into that full Polymorph. Gateway still not available for Vossel. He only has his port, and I think he's already used it, down to 40% HP. Absturge actually gets out of that CC, does able to get some heals off onto him, but he doesn't have any cooldowns to top him off.
Yeah, Vossel gets locked out. Dampening is so high. Absturge gets deep. They have to stop the CC onto Absturge if they want to win it. Counterspell onto the Poly. Ring of Frost follows up. It's only half duration, but that's all they're going to need, I think. The killing spree comes out from Pry, and it's going to finish off Vossel. I hope he's done at 1% and will fall. And Skill Cap EU are going to take game number 1 against Follow Esports. Talby having a lot of close calls. Nonetheless, through that series, great play out from Vossel, hanging in there, even to the bitter end. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. We can see Wallet not giving up for the time being here, but he's not going to take down Talby with this last incarnation attempt. Skill Cap EU cleanly, well, not completely cleanly. That was very hard for them, but they are going to take Follow Esports down in game number 1.
It's so hard for these teams that fight against RMD. Like, the RMD doesn't overextend, and you know, they realize when they're in trouble and they can pull back. There's not much you can do. It's hard to cross the map and try to do anything to them. So if they play safe and play well like they did that game, Skill Cap really showing the power of RMD in that game. I mean, that was really close. Wallabear actually had his incarnation as well as his Berserk up and ready to go near the end of that game. So if they could just live a little bit longer, that might have been the end for Skill Cap.
Yeah, Follow Esports is actually still in the game, battling it out with just Wallabear and Absturge. Just not looking too great for them at this point, so that's why it's not up on your screen right now. But they're actually just going for it as much as they possibly can, just trying their best to make something happen here. But yeah, I believe it says, yeah, they have just dropped out of the game. So that is going to be that first game confirmed for Skill Cap EU, going up 1-0 over Follow Esports. But that was a ridiculously close match in so many situations. I don't know how Vossel lived nearly as long as he did. That is just, I'm blown away.
Yeah. Me too. And I think one of the things that maybe should have happened in that game is at some point Follow Esports, when they realized they had like the damage, when they had the damage and they had the defensive cooldowns, maybe they should have pushed and overextended. But yeah, it can be scary.
There was that one position where trinkets just came up for their entire team, but they kind of had to hang back. I mean, Skill Cap EU were just resetting over and over, and those resets are really good for Follow Esports early on in the game, because they do need dampening, I think, to secure it. Unless Talby really gets caught off guard in a bad position, I don't think he's going to go down. Even at 13% dampening, he went down to 7% HP. I was really surprised that he actually got away living there. But now moving into the second map, it means that the teams are going to draft their compositions and the map. So a map selection again for a team like Follow Esports could allow Skill Cap EU to read what comp they're going to want to pick and try and counteract it. But I don't think we're going to see Valet play Shadow Priest here in this matchup.
I think that game looked good for them. They played it very safe. I mean, there's some scary moments, absolutely. Like you said, Talby Tree getting down to 7% HP. So very, very close game, but it still looked pretty convincing coming out from Skill Cap EU.
Yeah, definitely. I believe we actually have a poll result to take a look at. I was just told that we have a poll to actually take a look at here. So, yeah, here we go. Follow Esports at 33% versus Skill Capped at 67% in this particular poll. I think after that first game, that's probably, it's definitely leaning in that direction because one of these teams is now up one game over the other team. Surprising, that's how math works. But I totally feel like Follow Esports actually has it well within their capabilities to come back from this 1-0 deficit and take this series.
Yeah, they really do. And Skill Cap EU, they got caught and had a couple close calls, but were able to persevere. And I appreciate that they played for those resets, really playing into the strengths of their comp very well in game number 1. And we're looking to set up game number 2 as soon as possible. But the teams obviously want to discuss what compositions, what map. They're really thinking it through a lot. This is BlizzCon. This is it.
Yep, absolutely. And we do actually have a Windows 10 game DVR replay with Jackson available, so we'll get into that.
Hey guys, that was an absolutely insane game. A long game, and it featured 2 resets. We should take a look at this replay to see how it all panned out near the end of it. But it seemed like the entire time, Follow Esports was trying to build pressure. Wallabear was constantly in CC, and then when he wasn't in CC, he was always playing defensively. And although dampening does seem to favor a Warlock team like Follow Esports, they were really never able to go as offensive as they want to because Wallabear was constantly in CC. You can see him trying to peel his Cyclones, which is excellent against the Combat Rogue if you can make them lose their damaging buff. It really relieves a lot of pressure off of your team. But one of the things about a Combat Rogue is since the pressure is so consistent, it's really hard to recover. And with all those resets, they secure cooldowns, and they come back once those cooldowns are down, and they have their entire CC rotation back up, and they can secure the kill with that. I do think that Follow Esports does still have a chance in this. They just have to find some way to go offensive against this very skilled and very effective skill-capped EU team. We're going to throw it back to the Taskers. Get ready for this next game.
Awesome, thank you so much. And we do actually have our draft available, so we can go ahead and take a look and find out what map we're going to, as well as if there have been any comp switches that either of these teams have elected to go for. It looks like we're headed to Blades Edge Arena, and it's going to be the same compositions again. We're going to get Affliction Warlock, Restoration Shaman, and Feral Druid for Follow Esports, and then Frost Mage, Restoration Druid, Combat Rogue once again for Skill Capped.
So this is what you normally see when a Warlock team is being trained and they die. They always revert to going to Blades Edge because it's kind of a safety map. You know, they can put their port on top of the bridge, and when they get in trouble, they can jump off the bridge, and the enemy team has two options. They can either chase, and then the Warlock ports up, or they don't chase, and the Warlock just ends up being fine, and the CC runs out on the healer, and then he can port up anyways with no CC left.
Yeah, but I would hope that Follow Esports are prepared for Skill Capped EU to go after Absturge, specifically on this map. If you're going to pick it to gain an advantage with your lock, that's going to open up other players on your team. So Absturge needs to be prepared for that. He doesn't want to go down without trinketing or without linking. That would be terrible in this matchup to lose 0-2 like that. Not to mention the tilt factor losing like that. So Absturge needs to be prepared moving into Blades Edge Arena, because Skill Capped EU, we're kind of poking at him a little bit, not really getting a lot done in the Grand Arena, and then keeping to the safe strategy of just locking Vossel down. But if Follow Esports can persevere, keep their damage high, and allow Vossel to have the openness to spread his dots and keep his pressure, it could look good for Follow Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. We do actually have a little bit of a fun fact to show you guys as we do get into this game here, as it's about to fill up, about Skill Capped EU. They were put together at the last minute before the qualifiers, literally last minute, which is why they had a tough time qualifying, but they've obviously done extremely well for themselves since then. So despite being a last minute team, they are showing their strengths very well. And of course, with these players on this team, that's the sort of thing that you would expect from these guys.
Yeah, so probably going to see the same thing. RMD being very, very cautious as they go and making sure they can get a sap on the Absturge right away. Wallabear is going to be sort of the defensive player, pulling back and making sure he can land a stun on a Pry and shut down some of that initial damage, which is what his job and responsibility is. Yeah,
Absturge is prepared for the attack. He's got Earth Shield on himself. Let's see if Skill Capped EU are going to make any sort of target changes here in game number 2 on Blades Edge Arena. So Walla already opening very aggressively on the Pry, down to 42% HP, down to half. And Talby's going to use that NS. Triple Shadow Fury out from Vossel, looking to try and fake cast the counterspell here, trying to go for the haunt, trying to fake it, not falling for it. They are going to go after Absturge. Is he prepared for it? Talby's still down at half HP. It probably needs to start building up some pressure because Follow Esports are looking dominating in this position. Half kidney shot now into Absturge. He trinkets, he drops the link, he trinkets into a blind. The blind is actually going to break. Walla with his incarnation up is doing an immense amount of pressure. Raikou is forced to block. Pry trying to recover, keeping that feint up, doing a good job so far as Raikou cancels that block, goes for the aggressive play, locks Vossel on that haunt, shutting down his damage and equalizing the game.
Yeah, that opener did not go well for Skill Capped at all. Pry actually got caught out of stealth, and that allowed Follow Esports to just put a whole lot of damage into the entire team of Skill Capped right away, because obviously the rest of the teammates then had to come out of their respective stealths in order to be able to help him out. But now they're trying to turn it back around, putting a whole bunch of damage into Vossel. He's going to go ahead and port away and get over here with Absturge behind the pillar off to the side, and he's going to be okay for the moment. But Absturge just doing a great job keeping himself alive, but has had to use his trinket, one of his spirit links, and his ascendants already in this matchup. So Skill Capped could be actually on the momentum coming back into this match.
Absturge is actually doing an excellent job there, dropping that capacitor totem, which actually stunned Raikou when he got hexed out of that. But Absturge now caught into the full polymorph Vossel into the kidney shot. I believe he has his port available if he needs it, so he can just jump off. Yeah, I think he's going to be safe for now, but he's taking a tremendous amount of damage, down to 30% HP, actually having to use his dark regen, jumps off the bridge, ports back up. Absturge needs to get some heals onto him, and right now Talby, Raikou, and Pry are sitting completely pretty. The DR Bash actually going out onto Pry into a full cyclone, shutting down some of this damage Vossel actually caught into that offensive clone by Talby, trying to deny some of those heals, but Vossel wants to go aggressive. He wants to turn around the pressure, pops that Demon Soul, but he actually gets locked out there on his haunt, so not going to be able to accomplish too much with that. In a little bit of trouble in this kidney shot. Absurge positioned very well, able to get some heals off onto him. Vossel's just going to gate away, save his port for a later date, and he's going to be fine.
Yeah, but his Dark Soul really got shut down hard. Now finally getting some dots rolling. He would have liked to pair it with the Dark Soul. There is one coming up in about 4 seconds. Absurge's trinket isn't available for 14. Pressure onto Pry. He pops the evasion, gouges up Walla. Talby tries to pick him back up, uses the Nature Swiftness, tops him off very rapidly. Raikou getting locked out on Frost. Follow Esports trying to play this out a little bit longer. Raikou getting cloned. Raikou trinkets out. Are they going to look for the setup? Absurge grounds the Deep Freeze. He's still going for the Ring of Frost. He doesn't connect it, and that grounding is going to mean that Absurge can hold on his trinket. He pre-links the polymorph. Well done from Absurge. He's going to hold onto his trinket a little bit longer here. Vossel was very much so exposed in that setup, and Walla is really the MVP of the game, just clone after clone onto all 3 players, doing a great job to lock down their setup. Follow Esports are looking good, starting this game off.
Yeah, Absurge actually playing like a god, making all kinds of plays, capping the mage, making sure he's pre-linking the Deep Freeze, grounding the Deep Freeze, like just amazing. He's doing an excellent job. They want to go aggressive. This is what I was talking about. They're pushing in, but now Wallbear might pay the ultimate price. Has to actually use his trinket as well as his survival instinct. Absurge now caused into that Deep Freeze sheep, and this is what happens when you push in against R&D. You get overextended, and it's hard without a pillar to stop the CC.
Yeah, Follow Esports, though, doing an amazing job just sort of keeping themselves together. There's more Cyclones coming out from Wallabear, stopping Pry at 68% health. Talby having to use the Iron Bark and the Bark Skin on himself, just trying to stay alive through so much damage right now. Down to 50% health. He's going to have to Displacer Beast out of there, but that's fine. They're just going to swap over onto Pry and start putting some damage into him instead. Now Pry has to back off. They're trying to kill off Vossel's pet, but that's not what they want to be killing at this point in the match. They want to be killing the actual other team, and Raikou has to Ice Block. So much forced out of skill cap to you by Follow Esports right now, who are all just sitting at 100% health, not in any form of danger whatsoever.
Yeah, Follow Esports are looking dominant in game number 2, but they need to be able to execute a kill. Wallabear into the full kidney shot. Absurge needs to save him. He trinkets out of the crowd controls, tries to pick him back up, doing a good job thus far. Grounds the incoming polymorph. Ring of Frost gets dropped. Absurge is actually stuck in it right now with Walla. Walla leaps out of it. Absurge might choose to DR himself here if he wants to. He's trying to wait for this Ring of Frost to fade, and it does end up going down. He should be able to pick up his team just fine. Vossel doing a great job on Blades' Arena, trying to keep his dots rolling here. Talby's Barkskin coming up, though. Talby's going to be feeling very safe. Raikou still with one more block. Absurge might even look for a drink. Talby sitting down for one, and we're kind of seeing a similar playstyle of last time where both teams look for these resets, sitting down to get their mana up, playing for a very, very late game.
Yeah, Pry's actually able to build some damage here, though. He has a target, he has that pet, so he's building up those Sinister Strikes and that buff, which is not what they want. I think they should have pulled it back to try to prevent him from getting that red buff a little bit faster. Vossel getting locked out right there on that haunt. Excellent job by Pry, who is caught into that full clone at the moment. The bash going out onto Talby Tree as well, who's caught into a clone by Wallabear. Wallabear in a little trouble, though, caught into the full kidney shot. The full Deep Freeze going on to Absurge. Vossel has his Demon Soul, trying to counter pressure the best he can while his team's in a little bit of trouble. Absurge has no trinket. Wallabear down to 10% HP, and that's going to be it. The Ice Devil comes in from Raikou, and Skill Cap EU going to take this game 2-0.
Yeah, North America striked first. Now Europe gets to strike back in this final series of today. What an awesome one.